How's it going, everybody? We're going to talk about the basics of mold remediation. I get a lot of questions around this, and this should answer a few of them at least. Right off the bat, I would recommend that the IICRC S520 protocols be followed. I don't expect you guys to know all those steps, but these are the standardized guidelines that should be followed at a minimum. There are other protocols to follow. The shoemaker protocol, maybe you've heard of other ones for small particulate cleaning and things like that. But when it comes to the basics of what we'll talk about here, containment, negative air pressure, removal, cleaning, and then final particulate cleaning, and the steps along the process, this is the standard to be followed. So this is a company that has a lot of different cleaning and different certifications that they offer, and the S520 are the mold specific standards. If you're hiring a mold remediation company, they should be certified in this at minimum and should be following those standards. It's not good if you just have the certification if you're not going to actually execute it that way, right? So this is a very, very basic standard kind of for a room that's going to be remediated. And we will say that in this room, if this was a window here, we will establish negative air pressure, which would be taking all the stale and contaminated air from this room and pumping it outside. That will change the air pressure throughout the home in different ways. There will be containment barrier that'll be needed right here. That should be with 6 mil plastic. And what I'm describing here are kind of the bare bones of the IICRC S520 protocols. So how do you get negative air pressure established? You would be using an air scrubber that is basically a massive oversized air filter. Looks like a big fan with a filter on it. And it's gonna pump the air outside and filter it on the way out. In mold remediation, our goal is to identify the contaminated materials and remove them and go 1 to 2 feet past the contaminated material. So if it's moldy drywall, I would go 2 feet past just to be safe. And then behind the removed material, right? So if there's framing, wood framing here, that's where you would do additional cleaning, which we'll talk about. And most times you can clean and save the wood. I have videos on mold removal and how to do that. And now I'm just consolidating it all here. So negative air pressure is pumping air out. It would be smart to seal off the vents, to turn off the HVAC system entirely so we're not cross-contaminating the whole house. When building material is being removed, it's going to disperse into the air. So you always want to have them be cleaning behind themselves, make sure the area is dust-free before the post-remediation verification. That is your clearance testing to make sure all was done properly. I have other videos about this where you want an inspector to do the initial assessment and testing. You want the remediator to be the one doing this kind of home surgery according to the independent assessor's protocol, and then you want that same assessor or another third party to come in and do the check to make sure it was all done according to what they wrote up and that the tests all pass. In this process, this is just one room. We'll just say it's a bathroom that has that had a leak or damaged material. You want to remove all that, clean all the framing behind it. How is some of that cleaning going to be done? You will be using most likely a peroxide-based solution, some sort of cleaning agent that you guys are going to agree to as the homeowners. It should be approved by you. So Benefect Decon 30 can also work very well, and other solutions. Like I mentioned, we should turn off and seal the HVAC vents. There may need to be more containment in other areas. Maybe there's going to be kind of a hallway that leads outside and they want to take the building material from there out the door. That's where there might need to be an additional containment barrier that does that, all through here, zipper doors and things like that. So that we have different tiers of cleanliness along the way. Dehumidification is going to be really big. If there was an active leak or there's wet building material, you're going to have a big industrial sized dehumidifier going. This is very standard for companies that will be coming in to do this. The drying will have to go on because you're not going to want to rebuild back on wet wood or materials that way. If there is damaged drywall, obviously that's going to get taken out, bagged, sealed up, and taken out. And if the wood behind it is contaminated, you're going to be, like I said, you'd be using peroxide-based solution, potentially wire brushing, potentially sanding that surface, and other ways to clean and save it if it can be cleaned and saved. Every step in the process should be completed with HEPA vacuuming to get the area dust-free. That's really a goal. By the end of remediation here is that the area should be completely dust-free. And then fogging, which will be in another video. So check the page for that, where I talk about the function of fogging, where if you are going to fog, you will be doing that towards the end of the remediation process for a specific reason. So check my video on fogging as it comes out. And here I just made a note about PPE. So proper personal protection equipment is going to be, the full Tyvek suit, P100 filters. That's, all the workers really should be doing that for their own safety. I wouldn't recommend you guys handle this yourself as a DIY project unless you're really, really able, and you're going to have someone who's overseeing that you are following these standards. These are certification courses you can take, very hands-on with a lot of book smarts you got to get as well. But most companies that you are going to be working with for mold should at minimum be following those. Like I said, that's going to be really important. And if you're in a real estate transaction or as a renter, or you have you need to advocate for yourself and you're asking for something, this is what you want to be referring to, right? So insurance or whatever it might be, we want these standards followed, okay? I can't really stress that enough, that as soon as you start talking this language, and in this language is containment barriers, it's negative air pressure, it's removing the proper materials, it's HEPA vacuuming, it's doing all of this, it's getting clearance testing at the end. That's all following these. So when you start using that language, that's going to really, really benefit you, and it will keep those other parties potentially from cutting corners, and it will definitely let them know that you know what you're talking about. So hope this video helps. This is a very, very basic outline, but this is kind of a standard for each room that might be contaminated, that might need a kind of removal and deep cleaning style of remediation. If you need specific help on guiding through the process and saying which rooms really need all this versus some rooms just need a deep cleaning and don't need actually building materials removed because they have settled spores or cross-contamination in other areas of the home, which is definitely the best final step after everything, is after you get the removal and kind of the heavy lifting done in the most contaminated, what I call the red flag zones, then the yellow flag areas that maybe got contaminated, you do a very detailed particulate cleaning in the adjacent rooms or even the rest of the home entirely. So hope the rest of the videos help kind of, when you watch all these whiteboard videos in conjunction with each other, it will really give you a lot of context. And if you need one-on-one help, I am here to do that. I have consultation options one-on-one in my link tree where we can go through your specific needs on your specific home and make a lot of progress.